Here is a triangle made using the pins on a pinboard. Show how to make a square. Use the pins below. So we need to remember that with a square, all the sides need to be the same length and the angles need to be right angles, need to be 90-degree angles. So we can draw a square like this. Now show how to make a different sized square. Use the pins below. So we can make a smaller square like this. Now show how to make another square which is a different size to the ones you have drawn. Use the pins below. So we've already made a larger square and a smaller square. But what we can do now is join these 4 points here. Because we still have a square, all the sides are the same length and all of our angles are right angles. So though it's tilted, this is still a square. A shape has 4 right angles. It has 4 straight sides. All 4 sides are the same length. Draw what the shape could be. So we need to remember that a right angle is like the corner of a piece of paper or the corner of this screen. And we need a shape with 4 right angles and 4 sides of the same length. So we need to draw a square. There are lots of possible squares that we could draw, but we need to make sure the sides are the same length and the angles are right angles, so 90-degree angles. Now, a different shape has 4 right angles. It has 4 straight sides. It has 2 pairs of parallel lines. Draw what the shape could be. So we could draw a rectangle, because in a rectangle we still have right angles as our corners. We have 4 straight sides and we have 2 pairs of parallel lines, because remember, parallel lines are like train tracks. They're lines that if we extended them would go on forever without ever crossing. So this top line is parallel to this bottom line, and this line on the left is parallel to this line on the right. So we could draw any rectangle, or we could even draw a square. Now, a shape has no right angles. It has 4 straight sides. It has 2 pairs of parallel lines. Draw what the shape could be. Well, the shape can't be a rectangle, because a rectangle has 4 right angles, and we want a shape with no right angles. But what we can draw is a parallelogram. That way we have 2 pairs of parallel lines, because this top line is parallel to this bottom line, and this line here is parallel to this line here. If we extended these lines, they would go on forever without ever crossing. So again, there are lots of possible answers, but if we draw a parallelogram, we'll get the mark for this question. Write the missing numbers in this sequence. We have 64, 32, 16. So what we need to spot here is that 32 is half of 64. If we divide 64 by 2, we get 32. And then if we divide 32 by 2, we get 16. So here, the rule for the sequence is divide by 2. So if we divide 16 by 2, that gives us 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and then 4 divided by 2 is 2. Calculate 3/4 of £15. So we know that to find a fraction of a number, we divide denominator times top. So divide the number by the denominator and then multiply that answer by the numerator. And if the number is an amount of money, we do exactly the same thing. So we need to start by dividing £15 by 4. We can use short division, and that gives us £3.75, which we then need to multiply by the numerator. So multiply by 3. We can use short multiplication, and that gives us £11.25 as our answer. In a class, 18 of the children are girls, a quarter of the children in the class are boys. Altogether, how many children are there in the class? So if we know that 1/4 are boys, that means 3/4 are girls, because 1/4 plus 3/4 adds up to 4/4, and if we have 4/4, we have a whole, so that's all of the children in the class. So we know that 3/4 are girls, and there are 18 girls. So 3/4 of the number of children in the class equals 18. Now normally, to find a fraction of a number, we divide denominator and times top. But here we have a missing number problem, so we need to use the inverse. So we can divide by the numerator and then take that answer and multiply by the denominator. So 18 divided by 3 is 6, times 4 is 24. So that means there are 24 children in the class. 18 are girls because 3/4 of 24 is 18, and a quarter are boys. A quarter of 24 is 6. So if there are 18 girls and 6 boys, that's 24 children altogether. You save £1.50 per week. How many weeks before you can buy a book which costs £18.49? So we need to divide £18.49 by £1.50. But the easiest way to do that is to count up in steps of £1.50 until we get past £18.49. So 1 week you will have saved £1.50. After 2 weeks you will have saved £3 because £1.50 times 2 is £3. In 4 weeks you will have saved £6 because £3 times 2 is £6 and 2 times 2 is 4. That means after 12 weeks, if we multiply the number of weeks and the amount by 3, after 12 weeks you will have saved £18. 4 times 3 is 12, 6 times 3 is 18. But that's £18, and that's not enough because we need a book which costs more than £18. So 13 weeks, if we add another £1.50, would take us to £19.50, and then that would be enough to buy the book. So our answer is 13 weeks.